On my show, college, I think this is true with a lot of conservative and libertarian media, that college problems have almost become a form of entertainment at this point. Like the presentation that colleges have basically been converted into insane asylums by progressives and postmodernists. And we try to talk about solutions, mostly criticizing schools from the outside and, presenting alternatives. But there you are, you're inside, you can see this every day, approaching 30 years of experience for you. Can you confirm that that I am right, that this is a small minority making a lot of noise?
Well, it's a small minority of kids who are the ones forcing investigations on professors, the small minority of kids.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading around $1,280. Silver at $14.50. And Bitcoin is trading around $7,891. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, the worst fears of Julian Assange's legal team have been realized. The Mind Unleashed reports that the Department of Justice has unveiled a slate of new charges against Assange, including 17 new counts of violating the Espionage Act, stemming from his role in publishing the classified documents leaked by Chelsea Manning. In addition to significantly raising the punishment threshold from a maximum of 5.5 years under the previous indictment to the prospect of a death sentence for violating the Espionage Act, the new charges will raise serious First Amendment issues, as Assange will become the first journalist charged under the Espionage Act. According to the New York Times, the Obama administration considered bringing the Espionage Act charges against Assange, but balked because it didn't want to raise the Fifth Amendment issue. While WikiLeaks had warned of the possibility, they suspected that the United States would wait until Assange was on American soil before bringing Espionage Act-related charges. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. The Saudi-led coalition's war on Yemen shows little sign of dwindling. And now, over 4 years after it began, its borders are increasingly fluid, as Yemen's Houthi movement increasingly takes the fight to Saudi Arabia's soil. Minpress News reports that last Monday, the Houthis announced that amid increasingly grim prospects for peace, they would begin a campaign to target 300 vital Saudi-led coalition military and economic targets, including military headquarters and facilities inside Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, as well as Saudi-led coalition military targets inside Yemen. The fourth attack in the 300-target blitz came Thursday, when Yemen's army, loyal to Houthis, launched a drone strike against a U.S.-made Saudi Patriot air defense system at the Najran Regional Airport in southern Saudi Arabia. The airport lies 840 kilometers southwest of Riyadh, near the Saudi-Yemen border, and has been targeted twice in several days. Western Europe is home to a cluster of developed economies that boost some of the highest standards of living in the world. But that could soon change. The Mind Unleashed, citing NBC News, says that IQ scores in France, Scandinavia, Britain, Germany, and even Australia are beginning to decline. The trend has been well documented across Western Europe and could soon carry over to the United States. The data, simply put, means the world is getting dumber. Possible explanations for the drop include the rise of smartphones and other devices, which have worn away the ability to focus, the rise of lower-skill service work that isn't as intellectually stimulating, and less nutritious food. Whatever the cause, the trend seems to portend a decline in long-term productivity and economic success, factors that have long been correlated with IQ. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Millions of Americans are irrationally feared dead following a train derailment near Wilmington, Delaware.
Less than 200 people were aboard the train, but because no names have been released yet, countless more are being imagined trapped inside the wreckage by worried parents and overly anxious friends.
And the list of imagined victims is growing by the minute. From brothers-in-law who live in Delaware, who usually drive but could possibly have been on that train, to friends who went to Delaware on a business trip and may have been next to the tracks for some reason when the train derailed.
And sadly, we're getting reports that even those who have never been to Delaware are now also among those irrationally thought killed.
Oh, and we are just now getting word from Homeland Security that they're now warning people their fears may spiral into a wholly new fear, that their loved ones never existed at all and are just byproducts of a drug-induced lucid dream in which their consciousness is currently imprisoned.
Such a shame, since this is reality.
There is nothing beyond this to believe otherwise. It would be folly.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome to the Call to Freedom. It is Monday, May the 27th of 2019. I am your host, as always, Arya DeMezzo of, I don't know, something or another. I've been really busy like the last 15 minutes. Author of Dancing in Hellfire, which you can find on Amazon just by searching for it. Joined, as always, in the studio by
Michael Hampton from CryptoTip.org.
And so, interesting stuff going on, as always, honestly. The most interesting thing to me right now is this gay person. Well, man, there's so much to go over, and I'm sitting here editing HTML. Okay, so
yeah, that can wait, probably.
Well, not really, because what I broke it a moment ago and need to fix it. So there's this trans dude. Now this whole thing is so sloppy, right? I had to pause and hesitate in order to make sure that I was not misgendering this person or otherwise mischaracterizing this person. So this trans dude who ended up going to a hospital, I'm not exactly clear why, because I haven't bothered to read the article, and repeatedly was misgendered by the hospital staff and ultimately killed himself. But before we get into that, I want to announce that this Friday, Don Boys, the pastor and former state representative from Indiana, who we spent most of Friday talking about, who wrote the article wanting to know to what extent Pete Buttigieg is gay, asking him whether or not he's into rimming and fisting and all of these other things. That guy, Don Boys, is going to be on the show this Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
It is. You definitely don't want to miss it. We're going to have Tom Gray with us for that episode. He's really hard to drag out onto the show, but when something like this goes down, he's always ready to get into the thick of it. And, you know, that makes it easier for me because Tom is an evangelical Christian, whereas I'm an atheist. So for the most part, I just have to sit back and listen to these two Christians take completely opposite views of what they find within the Bible. And, you know, it's humor for me. It's just entertainment.
It should be good for everybody except possibly your small children.
Yeah, I don't know. We usually keep it pretty clean. I mean, the only thing that's probably not good for the small children is to be reading articles from their pastor about fisting and rimming.
Yeah.
And even then, I wouldn't necessarily say that that's bad for the children, but, you know, from their point of view, it probably is. considered bad for the children. So that's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Again, that's this coming Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be awesome. So, coming to us from pinknews.co.uk, a trans teen took his own life after hospital staff continually referred to him as a girl while on suicide watch. Ouch.
Okay. What country was this?
I'm guessing the United Kingdom. No, it was San Diego. It was the U.S.
Oh, my.
So, Kyler Prescott, was only 14 when he killed himself due to anxiety and depression in March of last year. Prior to his death, he was referred to the Rady Children's Hospital in San Diego, which has a gender management clinic for children with gender dysphoria or gender identity disorder to be placed on suicide watch.
Okay, so wait, this hospital specifically had a unit for trans kids.
Yes.
And the staff at this hospital mistreated him.
Well, that's what they're alleging. Despite the specialist unit, Kyler's mother, Catherine Prescott, said that staff continued to refer to him as a girl and often used girl pronouns. Speaking to the Washington Post, she said it caused him to go into a spiral. He was frantic. They were making him worse. They were completely traumatizing him.
Which is completely the opposite of what they're supposed to be doing.
They were not traumatizing him. And this is where I diverge from the rest of the LGBT community, because this person's death, is not on the fault. It's not on the hands of the hospital staff. It's on the fault of the trans community. And I said this on Facebook, and many people liked it, but just as many did not. I said this is the danger of letting others validate your identity. This is the danger of the rising dependency psychology incubated and encouraged by therapists who live unconsidered lives. This is the inherent flaw in gender affirmation therapy. His blood is on the hands of the trans community that demands others validate their identities. His blood is on the conga line of bad therapists who gave risky advice.
You know, I think you've got a point there, because we used to, back when I was growing up, we used to say sticks and stones would break my bones, but words would never hurt me, and they really didn't. People bullied each other, but for the most part, we didn't seek external validation. We knew what we were. So,
well, there's a lot to dive into on that. I continued, one cannot place value in having their identities validated by other people without also becoming vulnerable to having one's identity invalidated by others. This shouldn't need to be said to therapists, adults, or the LGBT community, but here we are. Now, in regard to this whole thing of being trans and being misgendered by people, it's more like somebody coming up to you regularly now and saying, you're not really white, or you're not really a man. I mean, just imagine if like half of the people you met said ma'am to you, right? It gets under your skin.
Yeah, that would get really annoying after a while.
And trans people are the only people to whom this actually happens on a regular basis. You're not going up to black people and telling them they're not really black. You're not going up to gay people and telling them they're not really gay. But every time you go up to a trans person, a trans man, and you use the word she or her or ma'am or whatever, you're saying to her, you're not really a man. And when you do that into a male to female trans person, calling them sir, he, him, whatever, you're saying to them, you're not really a woman. And it does get grating. And yes, the chat is interactive, MC squared. It does happen quite a lot. Like every single day, I get misgendered. And I don't particularly care. To me, it's not my business what gender stereotypes they have in their heads and that they wish to apply to me. Now, I did get a little bothered Saturday night by these drunk idiots who came in and said something to the effect of, hey, that's a pretty hot chick over there, referring to me. And then just a few seconds later, shouting, oh, that's not a woman. My bad. I stand corrected.
Oh.
Yeah, but I just ignored it, went on with my life, and that was the end of it. They left a few minutes later, and I no longer had to deal with them.
Yeah, bye.
That, to me, is the proper way to go about it when people insult you, whether intentionally or accidentally.
Yeah, you know, whatever these people say about you, you're still who you are.
Right. Yeah, they don't get to define me. They can tell me their perceptions of me, and that's fine. But to me, I am who I am. I've never said I'm a woman. Never in my life have I made that claim. And if I did, I pointed out the word trans right in front of it, making it known that I am not simply a woman for the people who somehow missed the 9,067 cues when they look at me and can't tell.
Yeah, if you look at you and can't tell, get your glasses checked.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not exactly uncommon for trans people to be misgendered, whether intentionally or accidentally. Accidentally is not something that people should get worked about, certainly. It happens quite a lot because whether or not to use he or she, it's something that we learn at very early ages based on very superficial categorizations. We don't stop to think about it when we greet somebody in the streets, just like we don't have to stop and think about it whether we should say hello or goodbye when we meet someone. It's automatic. You say, hello, how are you? Just like we say he or she when we're talking about other people. Now, asking someone to break out of that and to put conscious, deliberate effort into whether or not they refer to you as she or him, whichever one you prefer, is asking them to put in additional effort on your behalf. And you can expect friends and family to do that. But when you expect strangers to do that, you are setting yourself up for failure. Because not only do a lot of them not put in the effort, but many of them outright refuse to. This is the Call to Freedom.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISSparis.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is a special alert. for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And as always, you're invited to give us a call. That number is 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or you can use the Discord calling lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. Now, we've been talking about this trans kid who killed himself, unfortunately, because I've dealt with therapists pretty extensively throughout my life. And there are two things that I've learned about them. The first is that all they want to do is put you into one particular box or another that is simple for them to understand. They're not listening to you. They're filtering everything you say through a number of filters that they learned about in college in order to put you into one box or another that they can prescribe some antipsychotics to and send you about without actually resolving the issues. That's what the therapists actually do. Of course, this does not
That's not even helpful.
No, this does not cause me to be friendly with the LGBT community, particularly because I hold the position that a person's identity is by definition an internal thing, and that one should not allow external people to define one's internal identity.
It makes sense to me.
It makes sense to me as well. Now, of course, this made people upset. One person writes, I didn't read the article, but what you quoted is very short-sighted. This isn't a case of a mentally healthy person being called something they don't want to be called. This is the case of someone with dysmorphia and dysphoria about themselves. Someone whose pain doesn't come from someone saying something to them. Time out. You can't say that gender is a social construct, while at the same time calling this pain about this conflict between their gender identity and their assigned gender as an internal thing. It's one or the other. Either society is causing that by creating this social construct, or it's internal.
Is your commenter trying to say that being trans is a mental illness?
No. He's saying that, dysmorphia and dysphoria, they are by definition mental illnesses. They're treated with transsexualism. But internally not being satisfied about how they look and knowing they do not look how they want themselves to look. It's closer to anorexics and bulimics killing themselves than what your quote is getting at. Now, obviously, I said, you realize you're saying a trans person, me, doesn't understand this situation, right? I'm willing to bet that I understand it with greater clarity.
Yeah, most likely.
Now, this caused other people to chime in. Obviously, another trans person had to jump into the debate. I am willing to say that not all trans people agree with you, Arya. I am inclined to agree with this other person. The situation is one I am familiar with. Pay attention. It's not my identity being invalidated. It's society continually reminding me I am not as I wish I was. Now, this caused my brain to shut off for about an hour. And I didn't go back to respond until I was able to reboot my brain and begin addressing exactly what was wrong with what she said. So I began, I know most trans people don't agree with me. They went through psychological dependency training, because that's what it is, in my opinion. Even sexual reassignment surgery has been renamed to gender affirmation surgery. It's all about having your identity affirmed by others, by some external factor that others get to set the rules of, not internal. I said, you're placing value in the judgments of others by letting them remind you of anything. I'm sorry, but you're guilty of what I'm criticizing. Quote, others continually reminding me that I am not as I wish I was is literally a way of rewriting my identity being invalidated by others. The two statements have exactly the same meaning, because they do. If your identity is dependent upon, I don't know how else to say it. It's literally two ways of saying exactly the same thing. That other people affect their self-image. There you go. Now, of course, this causes people to weigh in about subjects that they don't know anything about, because, of course, if you're trans, you have to be a sociology expert. You have to be an anthropology expert. You have to be a sociologist. You have to be everything, because people will ask you questions and demand that you know the answer. So yet another person chimed in saying, but it's sociology. People do place value in what others see, believe, think, and say. Maybe they shouldn't, but they do. Maybe people should be stronger, but they're not. Maybe people should just be kind. Now, that's a valid point.
But they're not.
Humans are social creatures. We do place value in what others see and believe and say and think. When they are friends and family, we don't place value in the opinions of strangers.
Yeah, what do I care what some rando on the internet thinks?
We don't. And even when it's out in the real world, like the drunk people at my other job the other night, why would I care even slightly what somebody who views the world through even that sort of lens, where they would get that drunk and shout for all to hear, oh, that's not a man. That's not a woman. I stand corrected. Why would I place any value whatsoever in the opinions of someone so moronic and so far beneath me? So I reminded them that there's a difference between caring about the opinions of loved ones and caring about the opinions of strangers. One is healthy. The latter is distinctly unhealthy and obviously risky. Because your family, even if they don't respect your existence as a trans person, even if they disagree adamantly, they will not go out of their way to be jerks.
Usually.
Well, even my own family didn't go out of their way to be jerks. And they're rural Mississippians, hardcore fundamentalist Christians. If they don't, I'm willing to say that most family members won't either.
Most won't. There's obviously going to be the occasional exception, but most won't.
Yeah, and your friends certainly won't. So having friends and family whose opinions you place value in is a very, very different thing from placing value in the opinions of strangers. I'm not going to lie. It would hurt if, like, Ian or you or Rich or Mark or someone like that called me a guy. That would hurt, because I place value in your opinions. If I'm walking down the street and some hillbilly drives by and goes, man in a dress, it's not going to bother me. I'm going to give them the finger, which is a proportional and reasonable response when somebody just yells random crap at you, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't yell back, so instead I make a gesture.
Be careful about flipping off the cops, though.
Well, it's legal now.
Yeah, well,
but
they haven't got the memo.
Yeah, I'm sure they haven't. So after pointing out that there is a distinct difference between caring about the opinions of others and caring about the opinions of strangers, the original poster chimed back in, humans are social animals. We thrive on social validation and search for it. Much of what people do in terms of social responsibility is because they want social validation points. It's not therapy or modern parenting. Social validation has been large parts of human culture for some time. For a modern example of excessive social validation, see Japanese suicide. So he basically just reiterated the initial point and completely disregarded my fact about how there's a difference between strangers and loved ones. We're going to be back. This is The Call to Freedom.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
How many lawyers does it take to change a light bulb? None. They'd rather keep their clients in the dark. There are too many lawyer jokes to count. However, there are some lawyers with more noble intentions. At the Institute for Justice, we bring the light to our clients. We are a non-profit public interest law firm with clear values and principles. At IJ, we fight for those whose most basic rights are denied by the government. Visit our website today at ij.org.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government, the real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And before we get back into this insanity, I wanted to tell you about the Rational Review News Digest located at rationalreview.com. If you want to get into the thick of the insanity, this is the place to go. Because it's the Freedom Movement's daily news digest, taking stories from all over the internet that are of interest to libertarians and to liberty-minded people. They have podcasts, videos, blogs, and news articles, and they're now a source for people to receive the Call to Freedom's podcasts. So be sure to check them out at rationalreview.com to stay up to date on all the happenings in the wider world. Speaking of the wider world, it's some kind of holiday or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
some kind of jingoist BS.
In the U.S., yeah, it's Memorial Day, which no one actually remembers what it's for.
Well, let's have a moment of silence and read off the long list of people who died for your freedoms.
We're done.
Okay, now that we're done with that, let's get back into this trans chick. Or, see, it's such a difficult thing. This trans dude, because I pointed out after this person went right back into the it's normal for humans to want social validation BS, I said, maybe you're out of the loop about transgenderism in the United States then. Gender affirmation therapy is a literal thing. Therapists directly tell people to seek validation from others. You're not going to wave away a cancer being inflicted on my fellow trans people with useless platitudes. I see this every day, and I see the damage it causes. Things like Supermam. These people whose identity, whose sense of self, whose internal sense of self is 100% dependent upon the words and actions of strangers.
And when they don't get it, they react. They react so angrily, like you said with Superman.
Yep. So, Matthew pointed out that's the most silly therapeutic advice given to anyone about anything. Hey, Mr. Person with bipolar, seek social affirmation that you're normal. That kind of approach is a recipe for disaster. Once you tell people that they should care what others think, then they will care about others not affirming them, and they will become anxious, depressed, and then seek to kill themselves. I'm glad I'm not alone in seeing this, because, I mean, that's obviously going to be the case. You know, there's all the trans girls, not trans girls, there's all the teenage girls like 12, 13, 14 years old who kill themselves because they're being bullied and things like that, and it begins to affect their self-esteem. Rather than, teaching them that, oh, well, if other people say you're fat, that makes you fat. Or if other people say you're skinny, that makes you skinny. We know instinctively. We don't even have to think about it. We know that's nonsense. We know that we should tell kids it doesn't matter what these people think. It doesn't matter if everyone calls you fat. It doesn't mean you're fat. It doesn't matter if everyone calls you ugly. It doesn't matter if everyone calls you too skinny. None of that matters. What matters is what you think about yourself. Everyone recognizes that as being the valid approach to people with self-esteem issues. And ultimately, gender identity disorder is really just a new form of self-esteem issues. Or not really new.
The self-esteem issues that it brings on.
There we go. Yeah, perfect. But with this one issue, with transgenderism, with transsexualism, we're not telling kids and teenagers, you shouldn't care what these other people think. You do you. They don't get to define you. Rather than telling them that like we would anyone else in any other situation, we're telling them, no, you need these people to affirm your identity. You need these people to tell you that you're pretty. You need these people to tell you that you're skinny. You need these people to tell you what you want to hear. Otherwise, it's all useless. Now, that is BS. It is a cancer being inflicted on the trans community by terrible psychologists. And we have the trans community swallowing it hook, line, and sinker because they truly believe, in accordance with that socialist SJW mindset, that they should have the right to force other people to do what they want them to do. So if you reject that pillar, then obviously you're in a situation where, okay, I can't tell this stranger how they should address me. That's the stranger's right to determine for themselves, right? Once you accept that reality, then you can't allow yourself to be vulnerable to that because you have no control over it. If you want to make yourself vulnerable to it, okay, but you have to exercise some level of control over what that person is going to say. And that is morally wrong. You can say it's morally wrong for them to misgender you, and we can split hairs about it and whether or not it's even a matter of morality. But even if we go with it, that it's morally wrong for a person to call a trans woman he, even if we go with that, responding with one morally wrong thing with another morally wrong thing does not make a moral right. Well, that was a fun rant. And we're not even done. So, therapists are directly telling people to seek validation from others. It's absolutely ridiculous. And in reply to this, the person went right back into centuries of anthropological data saying humans require social validation. Some emotionally backed conspiracy that therapists want trans people to kill themselves by telling them to seek validation. Now, first of all, I'm generally not. It's only ever dudes on the internet who accuse me of being overly emotional. It's like counter to my whole personality. But hey, whatever, let's go with it. Secondly, I was not making any sort of emotional claim. I was making logical ones. We know for a fact that this is what therapists are telling trans people. I said nothing about a conspiracy because there doesn't have to be a conspiracy. I said nothing about any conspiracy. It's just observable fact that validation from others has become the common thread used by therapists to, quote, help trans people. SRS has even been renamed gender affirmation surgery. This is what it's like to be trans in the United States. I'm trans. I've got a pretty good handle on what it's like. And I see this crap every day. It's what causes things like the Superman freakout. It's why I had that lengthy question I was going to ask at the ACLU Ask a Trans Person Anything event until it became painfully obvious that they were 100% on board with the mindset of allowing other people, their family, their friends, strangers, or even the state, define them and tell them who they are, which made my question kind of superfluous and unnecessary. But when you've been taught to give other people power over you, which is what you're doing when you allow them to define you, having it used in a way of which you disapprove becomes a grave abuse of power. This is all observable, and it's completely logical and common sense. If you enter into a relationship with someone and they immediately start abusing you, the reason it hurts so much is because you gave them power over you, whether emotionally or physically or sexually or whatever, and they then abused it. It has nothing to do with humans forming friends and family units. No one takes the opinions of strangers seriously about any topic, except this one, where trans people are literally being told by therapists that this is what they should be doing. So you're either intentionally misunderstanding me or you're not capable of understanding me. Social validation, historically and for most people, comes from friends and family and fans in the case of public figures. It does not come from strangers. It has never come in the form of strangers. Humans obviously do not rely on all 7 billion other humans to be validated. Why am I having to tell you this? Have you done any research into the subject? No anthropologist would suggest that the Maya spent time wondering how the Aztecs viewed them. It's ridiculous on its face. So stop acting like it's normal to care what strangers think. And we don't even have to go to history to see this. The United States, Americans aren't sitting around wondering how the Chinese view them because they're by and large strangers. It doesn't matter to us how they view us. If we cared what if Americans cared what the rest of the world thought, we wouldn't be this psychotic warmongering nation that it is.
That's true.
Because that's what the rest of the world is saying about the United States. They're these crazy warmongers. They export death and war, and that's pretty much the only thing they export. So clearly, it's right there for anyone to see that the average person, the average American, the average human being gives no credence whatsoever to the opinions of others. And that's the way it should be. Let me rephrase that. To the opinions of strangers, which is the way it should certainly be. This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with more of this in just a moment.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Hey, I'm LRN.FM Program Director Ian Freeman. If you're listening to our free-to-air satellite feed in North or Central America, heads up. We've been on the Galaxy 19 satellite since 2010, but now our satellite provider is moving LRN.FM to a new channel on a different transponder. The current channel will stay on the air until the end of May to give you time to transition without any loss of service, so don't delay. I've posted the new channel details at sat.lrn.fm, but in case you're listening with no internet access, if you do a blind scan on your receiver, you should see the new channel at transponder 6, 11.8425 GHz, horizontal polarization, symbol rate 22,000, FEC 3/4. All that information is at sat.lrn.fm, as well as a link to our Patreon, where you can support our channels for just $2 a month. Visit sat.lrn.fm for more information about our international satellite channels, and thanks for listening to LRN.FM.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And if you've ever wanted to have sex with prostitutes and then arrest them, or bust people for drugs and then sell the drugs on the side for a nice little bonus, or just in general enjoy the power rush of being a cop without all the paperwork, then you should try the Thin Blue Line game, which can be found at thinbluelinegame.com. It's the only card game in the world that allows you to shoot someone over a broken taillight and then escape accountability with the magical phrase, "I feared for my life." You know, typical cop stuff. Get it now at thinbluelinegame.com. Assault and battery is not included, but for a limited time, you can order your copies and use the coupon code CTF to have all shipping costs waived. So go get it. That's thinbluelinegame.com. And we've been talking about this trans teen who killed themselves, and I thought the article was actually over in a very weird spot. It actually continued. Oh boy, here we go. This week, Mrs. Prescott filed a lawsuit against the Southern California hospital in a U.S. district court. She said that while she doesn't blame the hospital for Kyler's death, she had to make sure that it doesn't happen to any other kids. So although she doesn't blame the hospital, she wants to sue the hospital.
Didn't her lawyer tell her not to talk to the press and say stupid stuff?
Well, I would hope so. Evidently, he was not fast enough in telling her that, because she sure enough did. And if I was the judge and I had this quote in front of me from a reliable pro-LGBT news source, I would immediately throw it out. She doesn't blame the hospital for his death. Okay, bitch, then why are you suing them? She says, when my son was in despair, I entrusted Rady Children's Hospital with his safety and well-being. Hospitals are supposed to be safe places that help people when they're in need. Instead of recovering at the hospital, Kyler got worse because staff continued to traumatize him by repeatedly treating him as a girl and ignoring his serious health issues. Traumatize is such a strong word. We've been asked, is Thin Blue Line game a cop version of Cards Against Humanity?
Yeah, kind of.
Well, it's a card game, but it's not very related to Cards Against Humanity. I don't think.
No, it won't just slot into your Cards Against Humanity like an expansion pack. It's separate, but yeah, it's kind of similar.
I don't know. I've never played Cards Against Humanity. I've played Munchkins, and that was a lot of fun. The Munchkins card game, where I got attacked by an angry gazebo.
You've never played Cards Against Humanity?
No.
That has to be rectified.
I'm an iconoclast. People rave about it in the same way they did Game of Thrones, Minecraft, Avengers, and I'm just like, yeah, okay. I get it. People like it. I'm not interested. While it is the policy of Rady's Children's not to comment on pending legal matters, any allegations of wrongdoing, including discrimination, are investigated thoroughly and followed up on. So,
we've heard that one before.
Yeah, they investigated themselves and cleared themselves of any wrongdoing, which is not a surprise because that's what these sorts of institutions usually do. Now, it is surprising, and I would really have to see some sort of record suggesting that this hospital staff, with this ward that is literally designed for trans people and staffed by people who you would expect to be pretty knowledgeable on the subject, was repeatedly misgendering this teenager. I would be shocked to find out that that's actually true.
Yeah, it really is very surprising that like I said at the top of the hour, that a unit of a hospital designed for this thing, that something like that would happen at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect something like that to happen at any hospital. Even when in like Tupelo, Mississippi, the behavioral hospital there, I wouldn't expect a trans person to be routinely misgendered by the staff. Maybe accidentally. And that comes back into the whole, you have to have some degree of internal strength if you want to exist on this planet. I'm sorry, there's just no way around that. You have to be able to deal with the fact that people will misgender you accidentally. Whether they mean to or not, it's going to happen. And you have to be capable of dealing with that and not being traumatized by it. You have to be able to move on and get on with your life and go, hey, it doesn't really matter what they think. Now, that's a very different thing from people intentionally misgendering you. And I would agree that if somebody is doing it, then you are warranted in speaking back against them to the extent that they have spoken against you. Call them, okay, well, you're transphobic, and get on with your life. Keep walking, Don't allow them to impact you to the degree that you're going to do something stupid and that goes viral. So that's what's happening. Of course, there's other stuff, but the thing I'm most looking forward to is Friday. I cannot wait. It is not May the 31st, as I thought. It's actually June the 1st. So I'm going to have to email him during this break to clarify the date that I meant.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's not a big deal. For whatever reason, I thought Friday was the 31st. It isn't. It's the 1st. And just to remind everybody, Don Boys, the Indiana pastor that we spent most of Friday's episode reading from, is going to be joining the show.
Oh, this is going to be so fun. This guy is completely nuts.
I don't know if he's nuts.
Oh, he's nuts. We read some of his website. Don't you remember? You were here.
I do remember, but I'm trying to keep him on the show and not from backing out. Calling him nuts 4 days before he's due to come on is probably not a good way if he's listening to the show of ensuring that he's going to go through with it.
Okay, well,
I don't.
You got a point there.
I don't think he's nuts. I think the only part of it that I really dispute is that he says, his gayness shouldn't even be a factor, whatever. And we really need to know exactly how gay he is.
Why?
I don't know. I do not know.
Well, let's ask him.
Yeah, we will certainly get the opportunity to. Tom Gray will be rejoining us Friday for this particular episode. It's going to be awesome. A lot of people are looking forward to it. A lot of people who regularly don't listen to the show, who listen to it, I don't know, maybe once a month or so, are going to be tuning in for this episode because it's going to be an awesome one. Of course, a few months ago, we also had on Ray Comfort, who is also not particularly LGBT friendly, although he's not out there doing stuff like this. I wonder if we can get Pastor Steven Anderson, who is in Arizona, I believe, and who routinely advocates that trans teens should kill themselves.
Oh.
This pastor at this church says
What
this.
is wrong with this guy?
I don't know, but it only just occurred to me. Now, he actually went through a Border Patrol checkpoint a number of years ago and got the crap beaten out of him. They even broke his window because he refused to roll it down. And, I'm no fan of the state, but I tend to think that the reason the Border Patrol acted the way they did is because of the hateful vitriol that he spews. I mean, dude, you are literally advocating for trans people, for teenagers to kill themselves. I don't know what you think Jesus said, but I don't think he would be okay with that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like something Jesus would tell you to do.
So it occurs to me that I need to reach out to Steven Anderson and get him to come onto the show because he says a lot of stupid things like that. In fact, I might look for one of his clips while I'm out there during the next break because he's really entertaining and he always provides something for people to dive into. Not as entertaining as Don Boys, who suggested that, the United States should threaten to drop pig blood on Mecca and Medina. Not quite that level of entertaining, but certainly entertaining. Now, I don't know if I believe that the hospital is actually at fault in this case of the trans teen. Certainly, in literal terms, they are at fault if the teen was still there at the hospital and killed himself. If he's there on suicide watch, he shouldn't have access to a way in which to kill himself. Well, I would argue that he should be free to kill himself if he wants to, but
right.
I realize that that's a step too far for most people. I have been called homophobic for that position, actually.
What?
Yeah, because I said that if somebody wants to kill themselves, it's their own life, and they have the right to do that.
How is that even
Because apparently a lot of gay and trans people kill themselves because they're gay and trans. And that was the allegation that I was therefore encouraging. I have no idea. It happened a long time ago in some random discussion on the air and somebody just deciding that, hey, you're pro self-ownership. That conflicts with people being gay, so you're homophobic.
That doesn't even make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, most of their arguments don't. But that's not a surprise. They're not arguing from a place of rationality, evidence, and facts. So,
no.
This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We're going to find some stuff on Steven Anderson, and we're going to share it with you.
If you're David, a few well-chosen words can help level the playing field with Goliath. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com. Recently, I saw a Yellow Pages ad for an appliance repair company, and the headline read, "Why wait for Sears?" If you're going to the Yellow Pages, the Dead Sea Scrolls of advertising, you're ready to buy right now. So this is an attention-grabbing message. And how about the plumber whose radio ad says, "Call by noon noon Thursday, and we'll be there Saturday at no extra cost. Smart guy. Most plumbing firms give their crew the weekend off. This one gives them Sunday and Monday off. In the words of a respected advertising executive, cut to the chase, make it quick, and tell me exactly what you can do for me, especially if you're looking for work. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading around $1,280. Silver at $14.50. And Bitcoin is trading around $7,891. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, the worst fears of Julian Assange's legal team have been realized. The Mind Unleashed reports that the Department of Justice has unveiled a slate of new charges against Assange, including 17 new counts of violating the Espionage Act, stemming from his role in publishing the classified documents leaked by Chelsea Manning. In addition to significantly raising the punishment threshold from a maximum of 5.5 years under the previous indictment to the prospect of a death sentence for violating the Espionage Act, the new charges will raise serious First Amendment issues, as Assange will become the first journalist charged under the Espionage Act. According to the New York Times, the Obama administration considered bringing the Espionage Act charges against Assange, but balked because it didn't want to raise the Fifth Amendment issue. While WikiLeaks had warned of the possibility, they suspected that the United States would wait until Assange was on American soil before bringing Espionage Act-related charges. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. The Saudi-led coalition's war on Yemen shows little sign of dwindling. And now, over 4 years after it began, its borders are increasingly fluid, as Yemen's Houthi movement increasingly takes the fight to Saudi Arabia's soil. Minpress News reports that last Monday, the Houthis announced that amid increasingly grim prospects for peace, they would begin a campaign to target 300 vital Saudi-led coalition military and economic targets, including military headquarters and facilities inside Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, as well as Saudi-led coalition military targets inside Yemen. The fourth attack in the 300-target blitz came Thursday, when Yemen's army, loyal to Houthis, launched a drone strike against a U.S.-made Saudi Patriot air defense system at the Najran Regional Airport in southern Saudi Arabia. The airport lies 840 kilometers southwest of Riyadh, near the Saudi-Yemen border, and has been targeted twice in several days. Western Europe is home to a cluster of developed economies that boost some of the highest standards of living in the world. But that could soon change. The Mind Unleashed, citing NBC News, says that IQ scores in France, Scandinavia, Britain, Germany, and even Australia are beginning to decline. The trend has been well documented across Western Europe and could soon carry over to the United States. The data, simply put, means the world is getting dumber. Possible explanations for the drop include the rise of smartphones and other devices, which have worn away the ability to focus, the rise of lower-skill service work that isn't as intellectually stimulating, and less nutritious food. Whatever the cause, the trend seems to portend a decline in long-term productivity and economic success, factors that have long been correlated with IQ. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
The Onion looks back at This Week in History. On July 17, 1980, Ronald Reagan accepted the nomination for president at the Republican National Convention in Detroit and delivered a speech in which he boldly promised that during his presidency, someone would body slam Andre the Giant. While admitting that the road would be long and hard and that it might take as long as 7 years and 2 WrestleManias to get there, the former California governor vowed that under his administration, somebody, perhaps Ricky the Dragon Steamboat or a hulked-up Hulk Hogan, would grab hold of the 500-pound behemoth and send his massive body smashing to the mat. The Republican nominee also went on to promise that by the end of his first term, Joni would marry Chachi, hair metal would achieve mainstream airplay, and Shelley Long would successfully make the leap from television to film.
This is the Onion News Network.
Oh!
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. As always, I am your host, Arya DeMezzo of Free Talk Live. Tonight, you'll be able to listen to it just after Call to Freedom. It starts at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a very different show. Be sure to check it out if you've never heard it before. Again, that's Free Talk Live, dlive.lrn.fm, lrn.fm, freetalklive.com, twitch.lrn.fm, discord.lrn.fm. It's all over the place.
It's all over the place. It's the big show. It's probably even on your local radio station. It's that big.
Yep, it's our big sister. And I'm joined, as you hear, as always, by
Michael Hampton from BitcoinHistory.com.
And it occurred to me when I was out there, I'm so freaking tired. I would love to throw on a repeat for the remaining 2 hours and just sleep out there on the couch. It feels so good, and I'm so tired. I was out late drinking, as usual, on Sunday nights. And I learned last night at the bar that it is impossible to tell the difference between a guy who is mean-mugging me and a guy who is checking me out. It is identical.
Wow.
The looks I get. So, and I don't know which it was. I had somebody walk me back to my car, though, just in case, because it was very weird. So anyway, it is some sort of stupid jingo holiday. And so the U.S. Army decided it was going to ask the brilliant question, how has serving impacted you?
On Twitter.
On Twitter. And it got exactly the response that libertarians would expect.
Yeah, if you think this backfired completely, you would be right.
Among the thousands of responses were harrowing tales of trauma, depression, and sexual assault. In a thread, an Army tweet that preceded the question featured a video by PFC Nathan Spencer, who said, "To serve something greater than myself." Yeah, no, I mean, that's the whole nationalism thing right there, is that they, attach their identities to this external thing that they believe is just any religion, just like people do with God. I am better than I actually am because I've attached myself to this great, wondrous idea that only exists in my head. The armies afforded me the opportunity to do just that, to give to others. Wait a minute. I think you're confused about what the army is.
Yeah. Give? Well, the only thing you're giving to others is bullets.
To protect the ones I love. You're not protecting anyone. And to better myself as a man and a warrior.
No, that part is kind of true.
Soon after the U.S. Army tweeted this idiotic question, thousands of responses began flooding in. Many people tweeted about the positive impact military service had on their lives, but others posted stories of post-traumatic stress disorder, illness, and suicide brought on by experiences ranging from seeing loss of life to sexual assaults in the military. One man responded, "How did serving impact me? Ask my family." He wrote of a combat cocktail, which included PTSD, severe depression, anxiety, isolation, suicide attempts, and never-ending rage. Another person said, "After 15 years in, I was kicked out after showing obvious signs of PTSD and depression. Now I can't function in society because of my major depressive disorder."
And probably can't get help from the VA either.
No. So there's now more than 11,000 responses, many of which are along these lines. Many women responded with stories of sexual harassment and assault while serving in the military. One wrote of suffering from depression and anxiety and says she still can't deal with loud noises. She was assaulted by one of her superiors. When she reported him with witnesses to corroborate her story, nothing happened to him. A year later, he stole a laptop and was then demoted. She says, "I'm worth less than a laptop." Another response, "My wife and I served in the U.S. Army. We spent over 5 years geographically separated from each other." Well, that was stupid.
Yeah.
She was sexually assaulted on deployment and kicked out of the Army for seeking treatment because she was deemed unfit for service. I got out because her assaulters went unpunished. Others wrote of loved ones, friends, and relatives who had taken their own lives during or after their service in the military. "My cousin committed suicide while on duty at the armory after coming home from a tour abroad." Another user wrote, "Some say this thread backfired, but this is just a thread that is needed each Memorial Day, so we remember the sacrifices military members and their families make, and how we as a country need to understand the true cost of service and improve our support." Well, the only service going on here is to American industrial war interests. You're not serving the people here.
No, you're serving the people who are making money off of you.
The U.S. Army responded, saying to everyone who responded to this thread, "Thank you for sharing your story. Your stories are real, they matter, and they may help others in similar situations to not enlist. The Army is committed to the health, safety, and well-being of our soldiers." Well, that can't possibly be true.
Well, I'm sure there's one person in the Army that is so committed, but it is not in the culture.
No. On the same day, the Army also posted a tweet with a link and phone number for the Veterans Crisis Line. According to the Department of Veterans Affairs, there are approximately 20 million veterans in the United States, and fewer than half receive VA benefits or services. The department says suicide rates among veterans are rising, and in 2016, the suicide rate was 1.5 times higher than non-veteran adults. A VA report last year found more than 6,000 veterans have died by suicide each year from 2008 to 2016. Well, that's rather a large number of people. I mean, especially since, to come back to the trans thing, one of the main arguments people like to use against trans people is that the suicide rate is so high among trans people. I would like to stack that against the suicide rate of veterans and see who is actually more mentally challenged, more mentally unstable, more dangerous to themselves. Because I'm pretty sure 6,000 trans people did not commit suicide in any given year, much less 9 years in a row.
Yeah, it did not happen. So,
well, it may have. I'm going to look into it, but I'm fairly certain it didn't happen that way. But meanwhile, you do have 6,000 veterans killing themselves each year. Now, if that's not an indication that you have failed as an organization, that 6,000 people who are part of your organization are killing themselves every year, then I don't know what could be.
Yeah, they're not getting the support they needed after they left the military. They certainly weren't getting it while they were in. So what are you doing?
Well,
how are you going to fix this?
How could you support someone who is dealing with issues that severe? I mean, that is a terrifying level of PTSD to witness those kinds of things, because PTSD isn't exactly uncommon. But for most people, it's not, seeing bodies maimed and ripped apart by bombs, seeing people burned to death, seeing children burned alive and executed or whatever. It's not those things that are causing them PTSD. So their PTSD is relatively mild. But when you are dealing with someone whose PTSD is caused by, children being blown up, I can't imagine how you can begin to help someone whose psyche has been damaged by something like that.
I don't know. I'm not the expert there. I know they have services at some level. They just don't apparently have enough.
Well, I know they certainly do have services. I don't know whether it's enough. I don't think something like that can be recovered from. I don't think the human condition is meant to be able to look at a child burning to death and ultimately recover from it.
I don't think you ever entirely recover from something like that, but you can learn to deal with it. And
I don't know if you can deal with something that horrific.
If you can't deal with something that horrific, you don't really have much left except to kill yourself.
Right. Which I think is probably why the suicide rate is so high, and why I'm saying that I don't think adding more services or anything like that will necessarily help the problem. I think that problem itself is just too terrible.
Ultimately, what we need to stop doing, what we need to do is stop sending people over to get killed and to kill children.
Yep, speaking of Memorial Day.
I mean, that's what Memorial Day was supposed to be in the first place.
Well, they're certainly in a hurry to send more soldiers to the Middle East, to Iran, and perhaps even to Venezuela in South America, to protect the American way of life, which somehow is threatened by this country tens of thousands of miles away that can't possibly be a threat to us. This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more of this discussion in just a moment.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. As always, you're invited to give us a call. That number is 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or if you want clearer quality, you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. And we're going to move on now, sort of. We're going to actually circle back because evidently, and this breaks my heart to know this, Buttigieg was in Keene Saturday morning.
Oh, no.
And I'm just now finding out about it. Now, we spent most of Friday talking about Buttigieg and his sexuality, and Don Boys, who is joining the show Friday, and whether or not he's into fisting and rimming and all of that.
Oh, my.
And then Buttigieg, the next day, is at Keene High School.
And we didn't hear about this till today.
Yes, this is the first I've heard about it, unfortunately, because I would have gone to this event. Doesn't look like it was particularly well attended, so certainly could have gotten something from him.
Yeah, probably could have, but the person who usually tracks the Democratic stuff around here is out of the country right now. So
yeah, which means I'm going to have to be more on the ball with this thing, because Keene is a hotbed of political activity. They will all,
strangely enough,
they will all come through Keene. Every single one of the Democratic presidential nominees, if they haven't already come through Keene, they will. And if they have already come through, they will be doing so again. Now, Elizabeth Warren has already been here. Bernie Sanders has already been here. Missed both of those. I knew about those, but I didn't really care. There's nothing I would say to Bernie Sanders that wouldn't get me kicked out of the Bernie Sanders event. So I was like, I'm not even going to bother. Elizabeth Warren, same thing. I think I had to work. No, her thing was late. It was at night, and it was delayed because of rain. It was moved inside, and it happened while I was on the air. I think it was on a Monday when I was on Free Talk Live.
Yeah.
But Pete Buttigieg was in Keene Saturday morning, and I missed it. And I am so disappointed with that. Because maybe I could have convinced him to come onto the show Friday with us.
Oh, yeah, that would have worked pretty well.
But Pete Buttigieg drew a crowd of hundreds to Keene High School because evidently New Hampshire is a pretty important state. We have the first primaries in the nation. So whoever wins New Hampshire, it sort of causes a domino effect where they tend to just keep winning. Not always, but usually.
Yeah, usually works out to if you win New Hampshire, you're gonna do pretty well.
And Keene is one of the larger areas in New Hampshire. So obviously we get a lot of people coming here, which also gives us more political power when we do shows like Call to Freedom. Because most of our listeners are in fact in New Hampshire. So if they want to be influenced, if they want to influence a significant number of the New Hampshire population, there you go. Give me a call. The South Bend, Indiana mayor and Democratic presidential candidate has generated considerable buzz since an earlier appearance in the region. Well, he was
So you missed him twice?
He was in Alstead.
Oh, okay.
So not terrible.
Well, that's up there. That's like 20 minutes up the road. We go up there for barbecue all the time.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you do. I don't, but
yeah, you don't. 'Cause
I know
you're
other
working.
people do. But yeah, I mean, he'll be back. He's been here twice. He'll be back. I mean, we're still very, very far away from the primaries, so there will be plenty of opportunities to catch these people. Waiting for the candidate to appear, several voters said they have been impressed by Buttigieg's poise and message of generational change. He says, "I think it's time to let the next generation take over." No, this was said by Don Winchester of Antrim, a self-described Bernie guy and supporter of the Green New Deal who's still undecided in this contest. Well, thank God. Let's let him not have an opinion because he's a socialist. "It's nice to see a fresh face in politics," said Isabel Lane, 22, a recent KSC grad who wanted to learn more about the mayor's policy ideas, especially on the opioid crisis and education. Did she learn more? I would like to know more about his position on the opioid crisis as well. The one caused by the state. Celia Strickler, a Florida resident who summers in Townsend, Massachusetts. Well, who cares what she has to say? She's not even going to be in New Hampshire when the primary happens.
Yeah.
After an introduction by New Hampshire Representative Donovan Fenton, Buttigieg began with a call to reframe the way politicians discuss core values like freedom and security.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, this ought to be good. I hate that I didn't. I really hate that I didn't make this. "Of course, overbearing is a big source of unfreedom around the world," he said. "They are the only source of unfreedom," which is the first time I've ever heard anyone use that word. "I think the word you're looking for is oppression." I think that's what, the opposite of freedom generally is considered to be.
Sounds like the right word to me.
So he says, of course, overbearing government is a big source of oppression around the world. I would clarify that point and say that it is the only source of oppression in the entire world.
You've got to have a government to oppress people with.
Well, he goes on to say, but we recognize that government is not the only thing that can make you unfree. In fact, one of the reasons we invented government as a species is because we need protections from a lot of different things that can make us unfree. So to protect us from oppression, we invented an institution that by definition utilizes oppression. Oh, no, he's just stupid.
Yep. That sounds like it would work.
He goes on to say, for example, healthcare is freedom.
What?
I don't know. I can't imagine. Okay, look, if you can do it by yourself on a stranded island, then you have the right to do it. This is why you have the right to free thought. It's why you have the right to free speech. It's why you have the right to your own medical care. If you cut your arm, you have every right to take a bandage and wrap it around there. What you cannot do on a desert island is make somebody else wrap that wound for you because you're on a deserted island. Ergo, you don't have the right to do it. This is another human being who has the right on their own little island to do something or not to do something. It cannot be freedom. It is not freedom. It is what they're talking about is the enslavement of doctors.
Yeah, well, freedom is slavery.
It isn't, but they seem to think it is. People are free to take risks and start small businesses if they know that they have the freedom to do so, even if it means walking away from your old job, because you wouldn't have fear that leaving your old job means losing your health care. Well, you're not, time out. Okay, stop. You're not losing your health care. You're losing your health insurance.
Yeah, people get those mixed up so much, and it just really confuses the issue in most people's head.
Yeah, and the government has already attempted to fix this with the COBRA Act, which did not work at all. It's not a problem that the government can fix. In fact, though,
they're the ones that caused the problem in the first place.
A person losing their health insurance does not necessarily lose access to health care. They lose access to their employer health insurance. And that's a very different thing. This is the call to freedom.
Free Talk Live.
That's all libertarians are saying is let's stop the violence. And really, when you put it in those terms, it sounds kind of liberal. Let's stop the violence.
Sure,
right?
it's a movement about peace and personal responsibility. That could very easily sound like, when you use the word peace, sounds liberal, you know?
Right. So if the first libertarian you ever meet or hear on the radio is just talking about making government smaller, I can totally understand why you would get confused and think that it's just a bunch of alt-right wingers. That's one of the reasons why I kind of shy away from labeling myself that way.
Often we get terms like radical used towards us, but radical, really? Peace, personal responsibility, voluntary interaction between individuals? That's radical? I'll tell you what's radical. Radical's using a gun and a bunch of guys in armored suits with helmets to enforce your will on people.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Hey, I'm LRN.FM Program Director Ian Freeman. If you're listening to our free-to-air satellite feed in North or Central America, heads up. We've been on the Galaxy 19 satellite since 2010, but now our satellite provider is moving LRN.FM to a new channel on a different transponder. The current channel will stay on the air until the end of May to give you time to transition without any loss of service, so don't delay. I've posted the new channel details at sat.lrn.fm, but in case you're listening with no internet access, if you do a blind scan on your receiver, you should see the new channel at transponder 6, 11.8425 GHz, horizontal polarization, symbol rate 22,000, FEC 3/4. All that information is at sat.lrn.fm, as well as a link to our Patreon, where you can support our channels for just $2 a month. Visit sat.lrn.fm for more information about our international satellite channels, and thanks for listening to LRN.FM.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And as always, I'd like to invite you to check us out on social media. The best ways you can actually get in touch with us and communicate with us and talk about things outside of the show. You can find us on Facebook by using @TheCallToFreedom, on Twitter by using @CTF_LRN. And we're on the Liberdon server of Mastodon @CallToFreedom. And you can talk to us directly on the Discord server, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. But of course, the best way to actually get in touch with me directly is through our Patreon page, which you can find at patreon.com/calltofreedom. Now, I just had something pulled up. I don't remember what it was. Oh, it was about Buttigieg. Oh, yeah. And of course, now the Venus Project on dlive.lrn.fm has begun talking about how scarcity is solved.
Really?
I know
How?
people like saying that, but the fact is that resources exist in a finite quantity, and that finite quantity is what defines scarcity. It said it doesn't exist in an infinite supply. Nothing exists in an infinite supply, even as far as we know, the universe. So healthcare, it was said on the DLive chat, is freedom or is a right or something like that. I don't remember exactly how it was phrased, but I naturally pointed out that, free healthcare is slavery of doctors. It is literal slavery of doctors and nurses and pharmacists. There are no two ways around it. You are forcing them to work for free. And even if you're paying them by, extracting money from taxes or whatever, you're still enslaving them. Like I don't know how to explain it. So obviously slavery, right?
It's somebody else paying for it.
Yeah, but the payment isn't what makes it slavery. The forced labor part is what makes it slavery. The plantations owners in the South, they did pay their slaves, not with a wage, but they gave them food, terrible food. They gave them a place to stay, terrible places to stay. But all of those constitute payments to some degree.
Yeah.
They were giving them stuff in exchange for their labor. But the slaves were still slaves.
That's true.
Near the end of his 15-minute stump speech.
Well, yeah.
What does that even mean?
Politicians used to get up on tree stumps to talk to crowds.
Oh, okay. Well, for the next half hour, Buttigieg took questions on topics including healthcare, climate change, and accepting refugees. Now, being an anarchist, I would like to clarify for people. I think that the government being involved in the healthcare industry is the problem, and that, most doctors, they're overpaid. Most hospitals are drastically overpaid, and we see that. It's so obvious. A bottle of saline from the hospital costs, what, like $880?
Yeah, it's
or something like that?
ridiculous for $3 worth of salt water.
Yeah, it's absolutely absurd. So you have to ask yourself, how did this happen? Because if you
Government regulations, that's how it happened.
If you go to McDonald's, you're not going to be charged a 12,000% markup on a hamburger. And if you were asked to pay $800 and something for a hamburger, you would know that something is wrong.
Yeah, definitely. If you actually want to know, we do have someone in the Liberty Movement who is literally a whistleblower from the pharmaceutical industry, has been in for decades and knows all about this. Dr. Mary Ruwart, check her book out called Death by Regulation, where she explains exactly how government regulations over the last 50 years have increased the price of everything and gotten people killed.
And we've seen the same thing happen with college tuitions, where government began subsidizing them. And then the next thing you know, colleges increased their rates to accommodate the increased amount of money they're receiving. We see the same thing with rent control and landlords and things like that. And this talk of, people who live in the poverty line receiving, I think it was $300 per month or something like that to help subsidize their rent. And
well, then the rent will just go up.
Yeah, people rightly pointing out that, well, then landlords would just take that into account and increase everybody's rent by $300. That's how this works in the real world when you have government subsidizing stuff. It doesn't work. I understand, I totally get the emotional sentiment behind it. I don't want people to be homeless either. I don't want people to die of treatable diseases either. But I'm a realist. I know that those feelings are not going to guide me to truth. The only thing that is going to guide me to truth is rationality, evidence, and information.
Now, your feelings will not get you to solutions that actually work.
No. I understand, the emotions of, I think everybody should have a living wage, so the minimum wage should be increased to $15 an hour. Look, I get it. I understand where you're coming from. But that's not how it works. It has never been how it works. It just makes everyone poorer. It doesn't make anyone wealthier. Just like free health care has not provided, or the Affordable Care Act, all it did was make health insurance more expensive for a large number of Americans. Because it's so obviously not about health care at all. It's about subsidizing health insurance companies and forcing young, healthy people like me to get health insurance to subsidize the unhealthy people. That's what it's about. And that's why there's a fine attached to it for being 25 years old and not wanting to get health insurance. No, you have to pay this $2,000 a year fine because you're going to subsidize these fat, slovenly people, whether you like it or not.
And that's fine because even the fine is cheaper than the health insurance you don't need.
But I'm not paying the fine. Screw them. Screw their laws. I'm going to go about my life, and I'm not going to have their gun to my head unless they're going to pull the trigger.
I'll drink to that.
So there's your challenge, Uncle Sam. Find a way to tax my Bitcoin Cash and my Monero, and then we can do all of that. It's absolutely absurd, though. It's just about getting more pockets in the hands of insurance companies. And the reason they have to do that is because they're not able to increase rates on people who are diabetic, people who are prone to get cancer because of their genetics or whatever. They get fined by the FCC or some other regulatory body when they attempt to do that. They say, no, that's discrimination. You can't increase the insurance rates of these diabetics even though they're losing you money. You can't do that. That's discrimination against people who have diabetes. And so they go, okay, well, we can't do anything then. We're losing money. This is risk versus reward, basic insurance concept. So the government goes, okay, well, we will make sure that the healthy people who are not diabetics are coming and giving you money anyway. And the insurance company goes, oh, okay, now we're talking. This is good, because rather than attempting to compete with one another and market to these young, healthy people by saying, hey, you can buy health insurance for us right now, $7 a month. We will guarantee you that price for the next 30 years of your life. Rather than doing something like that, they just had the government come in and say, no, you have to buy it. And you don't get a choice.
And even that's not enough, because over the past several years, we've seen all kinds of insurance companies have to just completely drop out of offering coverage in several states all over the country, just entirely.
Yeah, because it's fundamentally broken. And so then you have to have national single payer, right? Because you have to have the healthy people in New Hampshire and California subsidizing the fat, lazy rural rednecks in Mississippi, because there's no wealth there for them to subsidize each other. There's all the young, healthy people get the hell out.
Yep, that's the only way to make it work, right?
Yeah. So you have to have all of these healthy people from other places being forced against their will to subsidize the lifestyles of these unhealthy people. Now, in a competitive market, an insurance company would do this by attempting to attract, I don't know, 10 healthy people for every one unhealthy person. They would weigh that risk and that reward. They would adjust the rates accordingly, and they would come up with a working, sufficient solution.
And that's the way they used to do it.
But with the government, what they do is they put a gun to your head and they force you to buy it. No matter how young you are, no matter how healthy you are, no matter how unlikely it is that you're about to develop stage 4 liver cancer, you have to buy health insurance. And that's absurd, It's just a way of forcing you to subsidize the lifestyles of people who aren't you. It's just a way of robbing you, stealing from you with a gun against your head. This is the Call to Freedom, and we're not fans of the government.
Not at all.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Forget it.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And did you know that Call to Freedom is available as a podcast? That's right. And it's good news for everyone who doesn't like the commercials. Honestly, I sympathize with you completely. I don't like commercials either. So I invite you to check out our podcast, which you can find at calltofreedomlive.podbean.com or on Spotify, Google Play Music, the iTunes Store, Radio Public, and an increasing number of places. It comes ad-free, but the caveat is that it obviously isn't live.
That's how podcasts work.
Yeah. So once more, that's calltofreedomlive.podbean.com for those who would like to listen to our show on the go. You can actually, each episode is available for permanent download as well. So it's a cool little thing. And of course, I'm trying to do one a week, one highlight per week, or one clip per week, where we sort of take a segment and we clip it down and we upload it to YouTube. And I extract the audio and put it on the Podbean thing.
Just one? Or can we do more than one?
Well, I mean, we could, but I don't have a great deal of time.
Yeah.
So, and it does take a while. I had to get to the studio about 10 minutes early today, and I still didn't get everything completed before we were actually live. So, but that was actually because I was renaming playlists and editing the HTML of what was the Philosophical Rabbit Holes page on calltofreedomlive.podbean.com, and is now just the clips and highlights page. Because a lot of them, like the Alex Jones clip, which I did not extract the audio from, but will be doing so, a lot of them aren't actually like philosophical rabbit holes. They're just humorous clips that I think people, I think they're good ways of promoting the show. You know, for people who don't have 3 hours to sit there to listen to find out what our show is all about, it's like, okay.
Here's a little 8-minute clip. You can get a taste of what you're getting into.
Yeah, and some of them are even shorter. Some of them are 4 to 5 minutes long. Some of them are 7 minutes long. But 8 minutes is about the average, because I do prefer to just take the entire segment. But I mean, sometimes we just crack a really funny joke, and we have a really funny 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it is, like the nuances of having sex with dogs. I don't remember how long that was.
Oh my, that was at least a segment. It might have been 2.
But it was very funny, and I enjoyed doing it. I enjoy making the excerpts and things like that. So head on over and check that out. That's calltofreedomlive.podbean.com. You can also subscribe to the RSS feed, all that usual crap with podcasts. And yeah, I'm unhappy because in 4 more days, I will be paying for the podcast hosting out of pocket because we lost our 2 largest Patreon supporters.
Oh, that's not good.
There was no reason given, so I assume it's just that, they went on with their lives or whatever. They're not listening to the show. One of them was Dunker, so I can't even pretend to be surprised by that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all by that. Dunker just kind of disappeared from the keen social thing entirely.
Did he?
Yeah, I guess he had some kind of, I don't remember what all the drama was about, but I'll have to find out.
There's drama?
There apparently was drama. It's Dunker. Come on.
This is the first I've heard about it. Well, and I'm not the only one who's been wondering, how is this? This guy was libertarian enough to ride his bike up here from Florida to be part of the liberty movement happening here in New Hampshire. There is nothing about this guy that's libertarian. Nothing he has ever said is libertarian.
Why? Yeah, why did he come here at all? I don't get it.
At best, he is a almost liberty-leaning Republican like Rand Paul.
A little, maybe.
But with the transphobia, and I don't want to say racism because he's never given me any reason to believe he's racist, but with that whole alt-right thing going on with Donald Trump.
Yeah, he's got a little tinge of maybe transphobic, maybe alt-right. I'm not sure.
There's no doubt about him being transphobic.
Oh, well, I'll let you be the judge of that.
He is full-blown transphobic, like to the extent, I mean, he's actually kind of like Rev in that regard, and that most of the people who have seen him interact with me assume that he really, really wants me. I never made that allegation. Someone else did, and I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
He was the one who made the meme where it zooms in on my eyes, saying something like, "That's a very nice argument you have there. Be a shame if somebody were to accuse you of wanting to have sex with me."
Oh, he made that meme about himself?
He made that meme, yes.
Oh,
using a picture of me, right? So I'm not surprised he stopped supporting the show. I'm surprised he ever supported it in the first place. and then supported it for as long as he did. We appreciate that, and I like Dunker as a person. I don't mean to besmirch the guy. He just confuses the hell out of me.
So I can tell you the little bit I know, and maybe Ian can fill in some of the gaps later. About a month-ish ago, he was at Social Sundays and had some kind of falling out with the people there. Like, some argument just blew up, and he stopped coming.
That's it?
He stopped coming to Social Sundays. He stopped coming to everything. He's just
that would exactly be why then. That would be exactly why he stopped supporting the show. He's just like, screw them libertarians.
Yes.
Even though I don't,
you guys, I'm going home.
Yeah, I don't go to Social Sunday either. So I mean, this whole thing.
You have an excuse.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go anyway. But this whole thing has absolutely nothing to do with Call to Freedom or me.
No.
But we're just sort of caught in the crossfire.
It's just he decided, I guess, to take his ball and go home.
Well, I've done that too, but not permanently. I very quickly regretted it, expressed my sorrow and all of that. I hate that I wasn't there for that particular event. It sounds like it was... I didn't even know it had happened. I didn't know there was drama.
I missed Social Sundays that week, so I'm not exactly sure what happened with Dunker, but maybe we can find out later.
I would like to find out because the whole thing is just bizarre to me. So, anyway, that's calltofreedomlive.podbean.com. Moving on, President Donald Trump is doing stuff as usual. He's such a petulant little person. I mean, when you look at him in these pictures, he always looks like a baby whose biddy got taken away. I mean, I just can't see him in any other context. That's the face he makes. It's like his permanent face.
Oh my, yeah. Now that you mention it, that is exactly what he looks like.
So he said that he's not concerned by North Korea's missile tests and endorsed Kim Jong-un's attack on fellow American. Oh no. Our jingoism alarm is not going off. How dare you, Donald Trump, defend this non-American who's attacking a fellow American? How dare you? In a press conference in Tokyo Monday, Kim Jong-un made a statement that Joe Biden is a low IQ individual.
It takes one to know one.
Isn't Kim Jong-un, wasn't there like suspicion that he was like mentally retarded? I know you're not supposed to say that. No, Kim Jong-un. Like, I remember there was concern when Kim Jong-il was alive that Jong-un was going to be unqualified because he was retarded.
Okay, now that does kind of vaguely sound familiar. I don't remember what the result of that was, though.
I don't either. But he's ruling the country now, so I guess he's all right. Trump continues. He probably is. Based on his record, I think I agree with Kim Jong-un on that. I think I agree that you're all low IQ, barbaric, violent thugs. Actually, I can't even call them low IQ because it is smart how they've set themselves up and how they've maintained power.
Oh yeah, you've got to have a little bit of brains to get to that level of power and keep it.
Yeah. I don't think that Joe Biden is a low IQ individual. I think he's probably smarter than Donald Trump. I don't particularly see much value in weighing their IQs against one another, but Trump was asked if he is siding with a dictator over a fellow citizen and former U.S. vice president. Oh, no, he has triggered ABC News and their sense of patriotism. Trump responded that he doesn't take sides and on foreign soil went on to call the Obama administration a disaster. Now, turnabout is fair play. The whole Republican thing against Obama was that he's going around apologizing, talking bad about America to all of these foreign countries. They criticized him relentlessly for that. Donald Trump's out there doing it as well. I would expect the left to criticize him for doing it. I think it's interesting that patriotism so easily swaps sides from one to the other based entirely upon partisanism, because it was the Republicans who were angry that Obama was threatening their America.
Yeah, well, the party is more important than the country.
And now that it's Trump doing it, it's Democrats who are upset that Trump's hurting my America. So, it's not surprising. Obama was correct however, in pointing out that, he may think America is exceptional, but the Greeks believe Greece is exceptional. I applaud being able to step out of one's own bubble to that extent. This is the call to freedom.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISSparis.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading around $1,280. Silver at $14.50. And Bitcoin is trading around $7,891. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Takeoff with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, the worst fears of Julian Assange's legal team have been realized. The Mind Unleashed reports that the Department of Justice has unveiled a slate of new charges against Assange, including 17 new counts of violating the Espionage Act, stemming from his role in publishing the classified documents leaked by Chelsea Manning. In addition to significantly raising the punishment threshold from a maximum of 5.5 years under the previous indictment to the prospect of a death sentence for violating the Espionage Act, the new charges will raise serious First Amendment issues, as Assange will become the first journalist charged under the Espionage Act. According to the New York Times, the Obama administration considered bringing the Espionage Act charges against Assange, but balked because it didn't want to raise the Fifth Amendment issue. While WikiLeaks had warned of the possibility, they suspected that the United States would wait until Assange was on American soil before bringing Espionage Act-related charges. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. The Saudi-led coalition's war on Yemen shows little sign of dwindling. And now, over 4 years after it began, its borders are increasingly fluid, as Yemen's Houthi movement increasingly takes the fight to Saudi Arabia soil. Minpress News reports that last Monday, the Houthis announced that amid increasingly grim prospects for peace, they would begin a campaign to target 300 vital Saudi-led coalition military and economic targets, including military headquarters and facilities inside Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, as well as Saudi-led coalition military targets inside Yemen. The fourth attack in the 300-target blitz came Thursday, when Yemen's army, loyal to Houthis, launched a drone strike against a U.S.-made Saudi Patriot air defense system at the Najran Regional Airport in southern Saudi Arabia. The airport lies 840 kilometers southwest of Riyadh, near the Saudi-Yemen border, and has been targeted twice in several days. Western Europe is home to a cluster of developed economies that boost some of the highest standards of living in the world. But that could soon change. The Mind Unleashed, citing NBC News, says that IQ scores in France, Scandinavia, Britain, Germany, and even Australia are beginning to decline. The trend has been well documented across Western Europe and could soon carry over to the United States. The data, simply put, means the world is getting dumber. Possible explanations for the drop include the rise of smartphones and other devices, which have worn away the ability to focus, the rise of lower-skill service work that isn't as intellectually stimulating, and less nutritious food. Whatever the cause, the trend seems to portend a decline in long-term productivity and economic success, factors that have long been correlated with IQ. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
A majority of Americans are pointing to Friday's tragedy as a clear call for major reforms in everything, or literally anything at all that might prevent acts of horrifying, senseless violence. According to a recent ONN poll, the nation is united in saying that the key to preventing future tragedies is a drastic change in gun control, mental health care, school security, media coverage, violent entertainment, the fragility of the human condition, and really so many other things we probably haven't even thought of yet. Jesus. The Randolph Center for Public Health and Safety also released a statement saying, quote, "If you look at statistics regarding gun violence in the United States, you'll see the recent shooting is a clear cry for any thing at all to please be different." In Washington, lawmakers have reached a bipartisan agreement that the U.S. desperately needs tighter firearm restrictions or looser firearm restrictions, or honestly, whatever option just makes these things stop. Do that one.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. As always, I'm your host, Ari DeMetzo, composer of some of the music you've heard today. You can find it on SoundCloud.com/Aria DeMetzo. If you would like to check out the songs in full or just more of my material in general than what makes it onto the show, you can absolutely go do that. Joined, as always, in the studio by
Michael Hampton from CryptoTip.org.
And we did just learn why Dunker, presumably,
why Dunker dropped his Patreon.
Yeah, and it was because evidently, and I didn't know this about them. He's one of those straight edge people. Who believes that if you're just not supposed to do drugs,
drink alcohol, anything like that.
Right. Now, I assumed when references were made to someone with that particular mindset recently that they were referring to JP of Cop Chasers, I think. Who has actually been on the show and who has expressed the similar mindset to me in the past. That he's never drank, he's never smoked weed, he's never done any of that. And I'm just like, dude, you are missing out. I, of course, am an advocate of drugs and mind-altering substances in general.
Yeah, you want to alter your you go right ahead.
Within reason, I would say.
To JP's credit, he's never looked down his nose at anybody else who wants to alter their states.
Yeah,
I've never seen JP, act like he's superior.
Right. He wasn't condescending about it when he mentioned it to me. It was more like a,
this is how I am.
Right. Yeah. More of a matter-of-fact thing. I've never experienced Dunker looking down at his nose about drugs, but he certainly does about me being trans repeatedly.
Oh, yeah, that's been an ongoing thing.
Yeah, but as far as drugs go, I didn't know he was necessarily against them.
Yeah, that was news to me.
Yeah, but apparently he pulled his support for both Free Talk Live and Call to Freedom. He had been supporting Free Talk Live for close to a decade, evidently. Wow. So I mean, he got seriously butthurt. He got triggered.
Yeah, big time.
This is beyond triggered. I mean, has anyone even seen him since then?
I have not.
He did yesterday post on one of my Facebook posts about the trans teen who killed himself.
Okay, so he's alive. He's still out there.
Well, he's still trolling at the least, which seems to be all he had to say was that this was a mentally ill person who killed themselves, que sera, sera, or something to that effect.
Yeah, what a nice guy.
I mean, it's always tragic to lose a genuine member of the Liberty movement. It sucked when Daryl left Keene. It sucked when Will left Keene. But I honestly don't see Dunker as being a huge loss. I was always surprised by his presence here in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, every time I listened to him or talked to him, I got the impression that his views were not quite libertarian.
No,
well, he's basically a minarchist, from what I can tell. And I don't know if that's because he's just trolling constantly or if that's actually what he believes. It's very hard to. He's a very intelligent man, and I don't know what he actually believes. He's kind of like Chris Cantwell in that way, where.
See, that always concerns me about people. He listens to Cantwell.
He's a fan of Cantwell.
I wonder if he's still supporting Cantwell.
Yeah, I wonder if he pulled his Cantwell amp or whatever.
I doubt it.
Does Cantwell even take? Well, I imagine he does.
If you've got crypto, Cantwell will take your crypto for sure.
Yep. So that's a whole thing that happened. Very, very interesting. I wish I'd been there for it. I think I've been to one social Sunday.
Yeah, I think it happens while you were at work.
Yeah, I'm usually at work during it now. I could request a day off to make it once a month or something like that. But I mean, I'm not a particularly
social person.
Yeah. I would rather. I mean, if it's a crowd of like 5 to 6 people, no biggie.
That's about it typically.
Oh, really? I thought it was
maybe
closer to
8
like 10 or 11
at most.
Okay.
There's been once or twice it's been like 11, 12 people, but
I mean, there's been times in the past where it's been 20, but we haven't seen that many in quite a long time.
Right. Interesting. Well, I hate I didn't make the crypto meetup today. This is why you should move to Keene, New Hampshire if you like doing stuff like that, because there is a weekly event. There's the Social Sundays, and then there's the every 6 days event, which is the cryptocurrency meetup, where I think you always go to a place that accepts cryptocurrency, correct?
Almost always.
Yeah,
every now and then we'll go someplace where we kind of want them to accept cryptocurrency, but most of the time we go to the places that accept it because we want to make sure they get some business.
Right. Well, that's very cool. I plan, when I replace my Vapor finally, to actually go to Lineage Vapors where I can use cryptocurrency.
I think might be their first client.
Yeah, I think I probably will be.
When I went in there last year, and it's been several months, they told me they hadn't had a single person ever.
Well, there aren't many smokers here in the Keene crypto community. Most of them switched to vaping, and they eventually quit that.
Yeah, that's what I did. I smoked for 20 years. I switched to vaping and quit a couple years after that.
Well, plus, I think a lot of people are more loyal to Corner News because they've been around for a long time, and they were the first in town to take cryptocurrency back in 2013. Really? Yeah, 2013, which was a long time ago.
Wow. Yeah.
And they sell vape stuff there. So I think a lot of people just have the habit of going to Corner News if they're in, so like Chris Reitman and Rich Paul both are active vapors, but I don't think they've been to Lineage Vapors. So we actually have 2 vape shops that take crypto here in town. But
that's amazing.
There's not enough clients to really support 2 vape shops taking crypto.
No, that's true. But
you should go there for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go there. even if it's not their first crypto related purchase, which I tend to think it probably would be, because I know I frequent Corner News.
Mm-hmm.
I've never gone to Lineage Vapor. When I did need vapor juice, I went to Corner News for it, and it turned out to be what I expected from vapor juice. I hate. That's why I don't vape. It's because it's unpredictable. Sometimes you get something that is smooth and goes down well, because I need high VG.
Have you tried the Juuls or the nicotine salts?
No, I have not.
Oh man, the nicotine salts like a more concentrated form of nicotine for vaping, as I understand it, and that was what got Chris Reitman to quit smoking.
Chris Reitman quit smoking?
He quit smoking. It's been several weeks now.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So like previous vapes hadn't been strong enough for him, but he tried. Rich Paul got one of the Juuls, which is the number one brand for the nicotine salts. That's the type of product.
Interesting.
And there are now competitors to Juul as well. But when Rich had this Juul, Chris Reitman tried it, and he was like, that actually does the trick. He went out and got nicotine salts, and he has not looked back. He does not smoke cigarettes anymore.
Yeah. Wow. I don't remember the brand I was using, but I do remember that when I started, I had to get a very high nicotine, like 24 milligrams to start.
I use 24 milligrams. But I mean, that's not really it's not the nicotine content. It's that it doesn't scratch the itch in the way that smoking does. Like even when
it did for Chris Reitman, and he'd been a 2-pack a day kind of smoker for quite a long time.
I may have to try the nicotine salts then, because I've never tried one, but I do know that vaping didn't do it. Like I could vape to pass the time for like 3 hours or something like that, but then I would need a real actual cigarette because the vapor just wasn't doing it. And then there was the fact that when I bought the liquid, half the time it wasn't actually high VG, which it has to be, because otherwise it just irritates my throat, makes it red, makes me cough. It's just horrible stuff. Very harsh. It's like sucking down charcoal for me when it's not high VG, because evidently I'm allergic to PG, which is the other substance. And half the times, at least at the shops in Mississippi, when I was first switching to vaping, they wouldn't do it. No matter how many times I told them high VG, probably 9 times out of 10, it would just be this harsh, unusable crap, until I had a stockpile of bottles of it. And I was like, you know what? This is not saving me money if I'm having to buy a refill every single week because I can't use it.
Yeah, I never hardly ever bought from a shop. I ordered online, and you get 100% VG, no problem.
100? That would burn off so many coils, though, wouldn't it?
It kind of does, but the coils are cheap, so who cares?
That's true. I guess I just thought that the PG was like a critical component in it, and that it wouldn't even work without it.
No, you can use 100% VG is out there.
The one time I went to a vapor shop and complained to them directly about this, because I had been there 3 times that week. I was like, look, none of this has been high VG. All they sold me was it tasted exactly like vegetable oil. And I didn't know why at the time. Now I do. It's because they literally just put vegetable oil in a bottle. They didn't flavor it for me or anything. They just...
That's not how this is supposed to work, you idiots.
No, they just dumped VG in there, and I never went back. I was like, okay, these people just gave me the finger. I'm not going back. But none of them took crypto. So I've got to hit up Lineage. This is the call to freedom.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Then we ship customized systems directly to your employees anywhere.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. As always, you're invited to give us a call. That number is 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or if you want clearer quality, you can use the Discord calling lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm.
And if you're going to troll, you better bring your A game, because we've seen it all.
Yeah, and I mean, the people who attempted it earlier, they were so easy to identify that I never even spoke to them. Because you start getting followed by people on Twitch with obviously trolling names, and then you start getting phone calls. It is not hard to piece the two things together, especially when you do this every day. So you've got to be better than that. So moving on, President Trump evidently took a beating in federal court last week, losing a pair of lawsuits that were aimed at hindering House Democrats' investigations into him and his administration. Now, I've not followed most of this crap at all.
Yeah, I've been trying to mostly avoid it until there's actually big news.
I know that Democrats and Republicans hate each other, and they're constantly using the dirtiest tactics they can come up with, or they pretend to hate each other, and they are constantly using the dirtiest tactics that they can come up with in order to badger the other side and to ensure their own claims to power. And it seems to me that's most of what this has been. Evidently, though, the decisions indicated that Trump will ultimately lose the fights. Both judges in the subpoena cases issued their ruling swiftly and decisively, underscoring the weakness of Trump's legal arguments. The lawsuits were intended as Trump's attempt to delay Congress from being able to obtain the documents. What documents?
Yeah, what documents are they after?
Taking advantage of the slow pace of the court system while keeping an eye on getting the cases up to the Supreme Court. But the court victories are providing Democrats with momentum as they accelerate their Trump investigations. Look, this is really not a good time for you Democrats to be doing this sort of thing.
Yeah, there's an election coming up.
Yeah, and this is not going to endear you to the American people. But hey, if you had any idea what would endear you to the American people, you wouldn't have ran Hillary freaking Clinton.
And you would have ran someone else who would be in the White House.
Yeah. So House Oversight and Reform Committee Chairman Elijah Cummings, whose subpoena for Trump's financial records from the accounting firm, blah, 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 good God, said the judge had found the Democrats' argument to be a slam dunk. Now, that is not the kind of phrase lawyers and judges normally use.
Yeah, a slam dunk comes out of basketball,
So Judge Mehta, an Obama appointee, this week found that lawmakers can move forward with their subpoena for financial records from Trump's accounting firm, Mazars. Who freaking cares? Why are they so obsessed with Trump's financial records?
Oh, is this the one where they're trying to get him on?
Well, they seem to be trying to just get his financial records from his accounting firm or the firm that does his accounting or
They're just
whatever.
trying to get him on anything then.
I don't see any reason that, they should have access to that kind of information. That's Trump's personal business. It's his business's finance being handled by some accounting firm. If he doesn't want it disclosed, that's kind of his information to make that call about.
Yeah, it's his private company, isn't it? It's not public.
Well, private in quotation marks, insofar as
it's not publicly traded.
I have no idea.
If you're publicly traded on the stock exchange, then you have to make all kinds of financial disclosures to the SEC, and they make that stuff public. But if you're not private, if you're not publicly traded, then there's very little you have to disclose.
Well, Trump his businesses may or may not be public traded. I don't know. To me, I don't particularly care what his financial situation is, except that I think he's probably significantly poorer than people tend to think.
Yeah, that seems likely.
So this is stupid. I thought it was going to be something more interesting than this. It's not. It's something stupid about Trump and his financial records that only diehard Democrats care about in the first place. And let's face it, diehard Democrats stopped listening the moment I said that trans kid's death was on the hands of the trans community.
Yeah, goodbye.
I hope they enjoyed that 6 seconds of air.
Yeah, well.
But in other interesting news, scientists have discovered the loneliest, most isolated galaxy in the entire universe.
Loneliest? How does that work?
Well, obviously it's a personification of the galaxy and, assuming it has human qualities and can feel loneliness. But what they mean is most isolated. Now, there was this image released not too long ago. I don't have the link to it now, but it was a really cool, very high detail image where you could zoom into various galaxies from very far away and things like that. It was really, really awesome. But there's all sorts of awesome things that technology and science as a whole is providing us access to. I have listened to the auroras on Jupiter. I have stood on Mars and watched the sunset, courtesy of the Mars rover. All of these sorts of things, they're available, and I think that the average human probably would be well served to experience them.
Yeah, just and heard the wind blow by as you watched the Martian sunset.
I didn't, but it may have been because I had it.
Because that sound file has been released.
Well, see, I didn't watch the video of it. I did the live. Well, I guess it technically was a video because it obviously I wasn't controlling the Mars rover. So yeah, fair enough. Okay, interesting. I guess I watched it muted or something, but I don't remember any audio to it. Fascinating that you can listen to the winds of Mars while watching the sunset. And you can't see Earth, but you know that Earth is there.
Yeah, it was a little hazy that day, wasn't it?
And that's a beautiful sentiment, and I think that any human being who doesn't experience that is missing out on not just the marvel of it, but the better understanding of one's place within the universe. And I think that's where things like the IMAP satellite or the IMAP image and this image that I was referring to, whose name I don't remember, where you can actually zoom in and look at different galaxies and all of that. And it's far more stuff out there than one would expect. It makes you feel insignificant, but within that insignificance, there is significance.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that live on a radio show, but it's certainly something for people to be aware of. I would suggest checking out like Phil Hellenes on YouTube, who dives into those sorts of topics quite regularly. But yeah, it's hard to look up at the universe and recognize your own insignificance in it unless you understand that you are exactly the same as the rest of it that you're looking at. It's like the universe may be looking at you, asking you, do you know how grand I am and how little you are? But at the same time, you can look back at the universe and say, dude, I am you. So we've identified what appears to be the most isolated galaxy within the, they say entire universe, but we know that isn't correct. What they mean is the observable universe.
Right.
Which may or may not be the entire universe, but we certainly don't know. So there's not much actually within this article that can be talked about. It's just a lot of
pictures?
Yeah, it's a lot of pictures, but it's fascinating, I think, that we found this galaxy all out there sort of by itself, more distant from other galaxies than other galaxies.
That's what they mean by isolated?
Yeah. That is, I mean, yeah, it can't really mean much else. It's just sort of sitting out there, being lonely. Poor little galaxy.
Oh.
This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere, though, because Sarah Sanders has comments to make, and they're exactly as stupid as you would expect them to be. And we just have to get into them. This is the Call to Freedom.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to SaveItPurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com. Hey, I'm LRN.FM Program Director Ian Freeman. If you're listening to our free-to-air satellite feed in North or Central America, heads up! We've been on the Galaxy 19 satellite since 2010, but now our satellite provider is moving LRN.FM to a new channel on a different transponder. The current channel will stay on the air until the end of May to give you time to transition without any loss of service, so don't delay. I've posted the new channel details at sat.lrn.fm, but in case you're listening with no internet access, if you do a blind scan on your receiver, you should see the new channel at transponder 6, 11.8425 GHz, horizontal polarization, symbol rate 22,000, FEC 3/4. All that information is at sat.lrn.fm, as well as a link to our Patreon, where you can support our channels for just $2 a month. Visit sat.lrn.fm for more information about our international satellite channels, and thanks for listening to LRN.fm. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
When 16-year-old Jeffrey Patterson died in a car accident in February, he didn't just leave behind grieving friends and family, he also left a significant web presence. In a tribute to their son, Jeff's parents have continued to update their son's blogs and social media sites, including a blog called Shitbirds Everywhere.
Well, Jeff used his blog to make fun of stupid shitbirds. And now that we're doing this, it's like part of him is still alive.
Yeah, and now when I post a picture of some shitbird who has a stupid ankle tattoo or wears some retarded hat, I feel like somewhere he's smiling.
He hated retarded hats so much.
Whenever we get a comment calling Jeff a dumb fag for making fun of a handicapped person on a rascal scooter, well, it's like he's still here. Jeff would have gotten such a kick out of that fat shitbird. He really would have.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom, and as promised earlier, I have finally dug up some stuff on Steven Anderson. Now, it's hard to find any noteworthy clips on his YouTube channel because he tends to ramble a lot and give hour-long sermons, wherein he'll say like 2.5 minutes of something just obscenely stupid and offensive, but luckily, other people are doing that work for me. So, coming to us from the Phoenix New Times, the pastor Steven Anderson hailed the Orlando massacre for leaving 50 less pedophiles in this world.
What?
Now, this is the same guy who we characterized fairly. I've literally heard him say these words, that trans teenagers should kill themselves. So it's no surprise whatsoever that he's this toxic.
Now, he's referring to the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando a couple years ago, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, apparently, he's part of that mindset where all gay people or whatever are pedophiles. Which, obviously, that's nonsense.
Obviously, yeah, it's insanity.
Good on YouTube for taking down the rant, I suppose. But New York Times has uploaded the video. Oh.
So YouTube took it down and New York Times decided to rehost it?
Well, Phoenix New Times.
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
I did not see that. I'm going to have to screen that. I imagine it's relatively clean, but even they are calling him a wacko, says that he never misses an opportunity to spew hate and homophobia, so it's hardly a surprise to find him capitalizing on the recent massacre at a gay nightclub in Orlando, Florida, where 49 people were killed and 53 more were wounded. Anderson, who in his sermons and online rants previously has called for the death of President Obama and the execution of all gays, took to YouTube Sunday to opine on what he called the bright side of the horrific event, that the victims, whom he called 50 sodomites, are no longer among the living.
Oh my. What?
Jesus Christ. The good news is there are 50 less pedophiles in the world, Anderson of the Faithful Word Baptist Church says in the video.
Baptist Church?
I would not expect him to be anything else.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because these homosexuals are a bunch of disgusting perverts and pedophiles. That's who was the victim here. A bunch of just disgusting homosexuals at a gay bar. Anderson points out that he doesn't advocate taking the law into your own hands and that he would never shoot up a gay bar himself. But the Bible teaches that homosexuals should be put to death, he says, and cites Leviticus 20:13 to back up the claim.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm pretty sure is accurate.
Yeah, that actually does sound about right.
According to Leviticus 20:13, if a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, pay attention for all of those people who say that the phrase mankind is not inherently sexist. Both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. Good old Bible.
Yeah.
I was joking recently that Alabama passed this law requiring rapists to rape victims to marry their rapists. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That was the Bible, not Alabama. Alabama still has a few steps to go if they want to actually mimic what their Bible tells them to do. Let's go to this real quick. Let's roll the dice and see what happens.
Take our chances?
Yeah.
Hey everybody, Pastor Steven Anderson here from Faithful Word Baptist Church in Tempe, Arizona.
Terrible audio quality.
And I just wanted to record a quick video about the news this morning about the shooting in Orlando. I guess a Muslim terrorist went into a gay bar and shot him up, and there's 50 sodomites, homosexuals that have been killed, and another 50 some odd injured. And then the Muslim guy himself was shot by the police, it sounds like. And here's the good news and the bad news about this. The good news is that there's 50 less pedophiles in this world because these homosexuals are a bunch of disgusting perverts and pedophiles. That's who was a victim here, are a bunch of just disgusting homosexuals at a gay bar, okay? But the bad news is that this is now going to be used, I'm sure, to push for gun control where, law.
Okay, that part's bad, yeah. But, as I'm watching
the bad news is that 50 people were murdered and 50 more injured. The other bad news
is that, they used it to push for gun control. But as I was watching this video, my gaydar was going off like crazy.
Really? I don't think he's gay. Now, I did happen to pause it on, the perfect moment that is getting screenshotted because I couldn't have done that better if I had been intending to.
Oh, my, yeah. Let's definitely cut that and post that all over social media because that's perfect. But yeah, I would very much be surprised if this guy was not in the closet.
Well, he'll not be weeping any tears for the families of the fallen. Not a phrase that I'm particularly happy about, but whatever. Homosexuality should be outlawed and punished by the death penalty.
All right, kill yourself then.
Well, that's what he wants people to do. He does take issue with the Orlando incident, though, because the victims weren't killed through the proper channels by a righteous government.
What the hell is a righteous government?
He bemoans the calls for gun control that will inevitably emerge from the tragedy, and he believes there will be backlash against so-called hate speech by pastors such as himself.
Well, let's just make it clear, this is hate speech.
Oh, it's absolutely hate speech. The bad news is that a lot of oh my God. The bad news is a lot of the homos in the bar are still alive. So they're going to continue to molest children and recruit children into their filthy homosexual lifestyle.
No, that's not how this works.
Anderson later added that the video loves this incident, that the devil loves this incident because now he can push his agenda of, we need to love homos and stop being hateful because look at the violence it promotes.
Yeah.
Hold on. The devil wants you to stop hating people because it's violent. I don't think you're worshiping the right God here.
Yeah, I don't think you got the right devil either.
No, he doesn't, and most people don't. I'm an advocate of the Luciferian take on Christianity, which is that in the context of the Bible, if any of it is true whatsoever, then it was horribly misinterpreted and utilized by the forces of darkness to convince people to accept dark ideologies. And that a sober and quote-unquote proper reading of the Bible will lead one to the conclusion that Lucifer, Satan, is the good God, while Yahweh is the evil one. So, Anderson is infamous for making outrageously bigoted remarks and using social media. He's also infamous for getting banned from Canada. I think it's 34 countries now that have banned him from coming.
That's got to be a record.
Yeah, I mean, he's working hard at it. Whatever it is, it is. He praised the November 2015 Islamic extremist attacks across Paris, singling out the incident at the Bataclan Theater where 3 gunmen wearing suicide vests opened fire on the crowd watching the American band the Eagles of Death Metal. The victims fought. They were attending a death metal concert and they were French, and thus inherently sinful in the pastor's eyes.
This guy is crazy.
Oh, he's absolutely nuts.
I am telling you though, I firmly believe that within 5 years, this guy is going to get caught with a 14-year-old boy.
I'm not taking that bet, but I'm not saying you're wrong. Anderson's a big anti-Semite, too, with sermons blasting Jews as antichrists who killed Jesus and who are therefore children of the devil. He also called for the death of transsexual icon Caitlyn Jenner, who he hopes will rot in hell.
Oh, my. Yeah, this guy is so full of it. This really does remind me of the people who go off hating LGBT people because they secretly are one. This happens all the time.
Yeah, it does.
Like I said, my gaydar was going off. You just.
He definitely goes a bit further than like your average homophobic person does.
Well, he may also be a pedophile then.
He really seems to hate gay people. And it would make sense for all of that to just be a front for him to hide from his own homosexuality. I wouldn't be surprised. This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more of Anderson.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And maybe you listen regularly to the show and have been wondering how you can help and show your support. Well, social media shares certainly go a long way, but so does cash. And you can do that using Patreon at patreon.com/call-to-freedom. I'm not looking forward to it because in a few days, it means I'll be paying for the podcast out of pocket because we did lose both of our biggest donors. The other one, I don't know what happened with. He only supported it for a month anyway. Of course, I do hate to see him go. I don't think he even watches the show anymore, though. He was pretty active on my YouTube channel. So I think he just, moved on with other things in his life.
Yeah, we've got a few more regulars starting to pop into the chat. So, it's you can step up.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
You like the show.
I mean, $1 a month is the lowest tier of support, and that gets you cool stuff like instant access to patron-only posts, all that good stuff. You can find it at patreon.com/call-to-freedom. There's other perks for those who really want to go the distance. You can sponsor the Libertarian Drama of the Week when there is Libertarian Drama of the Week. Speaking of, I guess nobody sponsored the drama involving the previous sponsor of all Libertarian dramas.
Yeah, I guess that does count as Libertarian drama.
I don't know. That was the first I've heard about it.
Well, it's local Libertarian drama, but it's still,
Does it count as Libertarian drama if the person isn't a Libertarian?
Well, he did. Everyone thought he was a Libertarian.
Who thought that?
At first.
I don't tend to just assume people are libertarian, but like one of the first things I heard out of this dude's mouth was something to the effect of needing government to interfere in some aspect of people's lives or whatever.
The first time I heard of him, he was riding a bicycle from Florida to New Hampshire to be part of the Free State Project, and he was a Free Talk Live listener. I had no reason to believe he wasn't a libertarian.
You're not wrong. I had not heard about him at that point. He got here before I did, I think. Of course, I'm not a lunatic, depending on who you ask. I don't think I'm a lunatic.
I'm sure we can find somebody who would say you are.
Dunker would say I am.
Yeah, maybe one of your exes.
Speaking of almost all my exes. Speaking of lunatics, though, we've been talking about Steven Anderson, the pastor out of Arizona, who is just absolutely nuts and called for the assassination of Barack Obama. Not entirely unusual for him, but evidently praised the Orlando shooting as a positive thing because it means, quote, there are 50 less pedophiles in the world. Which actually reminds me of things that we heard after the shooting in New Zealand with people saying, well, good, this guy was a hero. Now there's X number of Muslims less in the world.
Yeah, but Muslims are Muslims. They're not pedophiles.
No, well, neither are gay people. Neither were the people at Orlando. They were just gay.
Now, if they said something like there's less terrorists in the world, that would be a similar thing.
Well, as has been reported on Crooks and Liars and MSNBC the day before, he brought his loaded assault rifle to a demonstration outside where the president was speaking in downtown Phoenix.
Oh, my.
Pastor Anderson was preaching hate for President Obama. Now, if he was Muslim, he would be in Gitmo right now.
Oh, yeah.
He's preaching outright, this guy should be assassinated, and evidently shows up the next day to an Obama rally with a loaded assault rifle.
And the Secret Service did nothing about this?
He evidently got out just fine.
Wow.
And evidently, quote, when I say I'm preaching hate, I don't mean that as a figure of speech. God hates Barack Obama, he told his congregation. I hate Barack Obama.
Really? Let me ask you this, if you call yourself a Christian, who does Jesus hate?
No one, right?
I read the Gospels. I didn't get the idea that he had hate for anyone.
In a rambling hour-plus sermon that knocks sodomites, disses Pentecostal Christians, and offers up a birther fantasy of Obama playing baseball in Kenya as a child with a stick and a mango. Anderson talked about...
What?
We made Mark leave. Anderson talked about... He talked about how Obama would be in town the next day and that some of his parishioners might be attending, although he couldn't personally make it due to previous plans. Well, then they may have gotten mixed up with their pronouns earlier. I'm not sure. For Anderson, Obama cannot be saved. Well, then he is way off of Christianity.
Yeah, what?
Because that's like...
Who did Jesus say could not be saved?
Blasphemers.
Really?
And I don't think it was actually Jesus who said that. I'm pretty sure it's in the book of Revelations that people who blaspheme against the Holy Spirit cannot achieve salvation.
Okay.
I'm almost positive against that. But blaspheming against the Holy Spirit is not particularly easy to do. One must actually make a conscious effort to blaspheme against the Holy Spirit, whatever that would even mean.
Sounds difficult.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it would be easy to do. But generally speaking, yeah, otherwise most people are not barred from salvation according to Christianity. I mean, if they were, Christianity wouldn't be a thing. No, it wants you to believe that you can be saved, and it wants your money. God is terrible with money, and he always needs more of it.
Well, his priests certainly do.
So Anderson continued, "You're going to tell me that I'm supposed to pray for the socialist devil?" Asked. Now, it's interesting to me how similar he sounds to the parody blog that I used to do called Messenger of Truth, where I called Obama a socialist, faggot, homosexual antichrist and all kinds of stupid crap like that with a total lack of sincerity, while Anderson is saying it
He seems to be completely sincere, unironic, but you know, like I said in the last segment, I think this guy is secretly in the closet.
This murderer, infanticide, who wants to see young children, and he wants to see babies killed through abortion and partial birth and all these other things. You're going to tell me I'm supposed to pray for God to give him a good lunch tomorrow? Nope, I'm going to pray for his good. I'm not going to pray for his good. I'm going to pray that he dies and goes to hell. When I go to bed tonight, that's how I'm going to pray.
This guy has definitely got Jesus love in his heart.
He's got something in his heart, that's for sure. Obama's death, in Anderson's eyes, would just be punishment for advocating for a woman's right to choose. Calling Obama one of the rulers of the darkness of this world and drawing upon fire and brimstone from the Old Testament, he gets weirdly graphic about what he'd like to see done to the president.
Oh, my.
If someone's going to twist my arm behind my back, he tells the crowd, oh, well, I'm sure they had to twist your arm really hard for this.
Yeah, twist.
And tell me to pray for Barack Obama. This is what I'm going to pray because this is the only prayer that applies to him. Break his teeth, O God, in his mouth, as a snail which melteth, let him pass away. Like an untimely birth of a woman that he thinks. He calls it a woman's right to... What? He is totally full of crap, man. He just sort of rambles on there, going from what he wants to happen to Barack Obama to reasons why he doesn't like Barack Obama. Obama is overturning the U.S. Constitution. Overturning... Hold on.
That's not how this works.
He might be trolling, like on the level of just God himself. Overturning the Declaration of Independence. Right. Overturning everything we believe as a country, overturning 200 years of history. He is the revolutionary, and it's a socialist communist revolution. We are the counter-revolutionaries. We don't want change. Well, I think that's pretty clear. Now, evidently, Alex Jones describes him as his pastor.
What?
Again, they could be being careless with pronouns here. But no, they're talking about somebody else entirely when they say that. Christopher Broughton, some guy they just randomly mentioned. Okay, so let me tell you something. I don't love Barack Obama, he said. I don't respect him. Now, this is all very interesting, but I want to know more about just his general insanity. I get it. He doesn't like Barack Obama. Share with us the rest of the people that he doesn't like, because he's also anti-Semitic. He calls Jews children of the devil. He says that trans teens should kill themselves. He wants somebody to break Obama's teeth. He's just nuts, all around nuts. Hates everybody who isn't him, evidently. Hey, but don't go anywhere. This has been the Call to Freedom. Free Talk Live, however, is coming up next, so stay tuned. It's going to be a great episode, as always, starting in just a moment.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims